Good evening. The 2014 MTLA Career Achievement Award goes to my longtime partner, more than a quarter of a century, Randy Bishop. He deserves it, and let me tell you why. Randy graduated in 1977. I was in that class too, and with a little bit of humor, and no offense to Mr. Greg Monroe, our acting dean, class of 77 is probably recognized as the finest class to come out of the University of Montana. It's a fact. It's a fact. Stop it. In any way, in the last 37 years, Randy's handled any number of cases that have resulted in significant recoveries for his clients. Some of them you've never heard of, some you know well. Three of them, and I just picked three. In recent years are Alleman versus Life Insurance Company in North America. Most of you have never heard of that one. That was a disability policy claim that took a great deal of work, a lot of thought, and a lot of skill that goes into it. Another one I think you've all heard of is Malcolm versus Evenflow, and I'll address that a little bit more later. Probably one of the best litigated cases from start to finish that maybe we've seen in Montana jurisprudence. And one that you haven't heard of for the most part is one that was just recently tried in federal court, King versus Geico. And I point out those three cases, one you've not heard of, others you've had, only because the work he's done over the last 3.5 decades has been A1 from start to finish. There are any number of other cases, but those cases, the cases in and of themselves, is not why he deserves this award. If you were to go onto my computer, all of us have one sitting on our desk anymore, and all of us have documents sitting on the screen. And one of the documents on my screen is just a document entitled Sayings. And there are sayings that I've picked up over time. Frankly, most of them I don't even know where I found them, and I don't even have a source to attribute them to. They're just something I've read, and I thought they've been kind of neat. Some of them are humorous. I had a construction guy tell me that in the world of construction that close enough is a unit of measure. Some of them are somewhat more significant, and two of those, I think, apply to Randy. I got 18-point font here. Two of those that I think are important, and we should all remember, and you should all write these down if you don't remember them, is these. Don't tell me what you think. Show me how you live. The second one is, we all do better when we all do better. Both of these, I think, fit my partner Randy to a T. Here's how. In both his own cases and those on which he's written amicus briefs on behalf of MTLA, he's dealt with some of the thorniest legal issues. In Malcolm versus Evenflow, one of his own cases, there was an attempt to inject the thought process of the restatement third of torts on products case, wanting to take the position that compliance with a federal regulation was a defense. And he also fought to keep negligence concepts out of Montana products law. In Newville versus State of Montana, and this one goes way back, issues of non-parties and negligence cases were discussed and dealt with. Issues involving contribution and indemnity under our comparative negligence statute were dealt with in a more recent case of Metro Aviation versus the United States. There he wrote the amicus brief. Issues involving duties of insurance companies in Donaire versus Paul Revere. He wrote the amicus brief on that. Going way back, the misuse defense in a products case was an issue dealt with in the Hart-Albin Company versus McLeese. And there's any number of other cases there. Establishing the circumstances where cost of restoration is the appropriate measure of damages instead of diminution of value in a product's case. That was Lampe versus Speed. These are just some of the cases that illustrate the issues that Randy has briefed, argued, and addressed before the Montana Supreme Court. Are there more? Oh yeah, a lot of them, but time is of the essence here. Some of the other things that I need to point out to all of you, because I think all of you should be aware of them when you talk about, don't tell me what you think, show me how you live. He served for many years on the committee which drafted the Montana Pattern Jury Instructions. He served 2 terms on the Judicial Nomination Committee. Any number of times he's lectured at the Montana School of Law on various topics. He not only wrote amicus briefs, but he served on the Montana MTLA amicus committee. He served as a director of the MTLA for many years, as well as went through the offices and ultimately serving as president. Served for many years on the MTL Education Committee, organizing seminars. And as I wrote these memos down and my notes to myself down, I kept thinking, you know, on any one year, you know exactly what's going on in the office. And then, you know, what's exactly going on 2 years. But after you get to 25, I couldn't remember the number of years. And I just decided I'll use the term or the word many because it applies to each and every one of these aspects of MTLA and Montana legal jurisprudence that fits them. He spoke as a lecturer on numerous MTLA seminars over the years. And for the good and for the bad, or should I say for good results and bad results, he weighed in and helped draft numerous proposed legislation for the Montana legislature. Testified for and against legislation that was before legislative committees in the terms of the legislature. Active in party politics, serving as chair of the Yellowstone County Democrats years ago, also ran for office. Active in nonpartisan races involving both district and Supreme Court races. Member of the Montana Trial Lawyers PAC for many years and instrumental in raising funds for the PAC. That's just some of the law-related work that Randy's done over the last 37 years. A career is probably more than just your profession. It is your work in the community. Served as president of the Big Sky Little League for a number of years, making rule changes that promoted the development of player skills for these young kids of all talents. I remember at one time he refused to let an adult be a coach of a particular team. And boy, don't think that didn't raise heck. If you've been in downtown Billings in recent years, you've probably seen, and for those of you who are honest, you've probably envied over Dealer Park where our Billings Mustangs play. What a great, great small town baseball park. Randy worked for a number of years with the committee to help getting that passed. First time it was up for vote, it was voted down, back again, voted up, and we now have Dealer Park. And I don't want you to think, as I conclude these remarks, that it's been all work and no fun. Mike Koch, Mike Wheat, would you guys stand up, please? Sure. You notice when they were introducing the dignitaries, Wheat couldn't help but raise his hand, but now he won't stand up. Okay? Enough. For a number of years, the team of Drusi and Bishop beat those guys like a rented mule in golf. Every year but one when they cheated. No, I'm sorry, they changed the rules for their benefit. But, you know, you got to enjoy life, and boy, did we enjoy that. So to paraphrase one of these sayings that I gave you earlier, you don't have to ask Randy what he thinks. Just look at how he's worked and lived these last 37 years, and then you'll know why he deserves the 2014 Career Achievement Award. Thank you.
Thank you, Gene. Well, he's done it now. He's told you not to ask me what I think, but that's what I've decided I want to do. I want to tell you a little bit about what I think, and I appreciate the kind remarks. The Career Achievement Award is more than any member of MTLA could ever hope for, and I believe that to the very bottom of my heart. It causes us to think of individual lawyers in the context of a legal career. And frankly, I'm not comfortable with that. And so the first thing that I'm going to tell you that I think is that it's just flat inappropriate for a trial lawyer who cares about this business, this profession, to think in terms of individual achievements, because our career, each of us who practices trial law for people, is built upon the courage of those people that we are privileged to represent. Period. Our clients are the heroes in the courtroom, not us. They are the only heroes in the courtroom. I've never won a case. My clients have. Regrettably, I've lost a few. And I wish that I had the opportunity to go back and do things over so that I could make that right for those people. You probably gathered from some of the things that Gene said that I like baseball. Recently, Joe Torre, and I know some people who are Yankee fans. I'm not one. But I'm a Joe Torre fan and a Derek Jeter fan too. But Joe Torre was recently inducted into the Hall of Fame. And he was talking about the game of baseball, but his words could have applied, and in my mind did apply, to what it is that we do when he said, "It's ours to borrow for just a while, to take care of for a time, and then to pass it on to the next generation." So I'm going to tell you a little bit of what I've come to believe. About what it is to be a trial lawyer. Rules to follow. There's 5 for me. And I'm not saying anything that I haven't said many times, sometimes probably too late at night, with too many good friends. First, care. Care about people. Care about pushing the limits of the law until it values people more than things. And care about this organization. This is a 500-person law firm comprised of a majority of brilliant, articulate, wonderful people who have made the conscious choice to give up the opportunity to get a regular corporate check and a corporate pat on the back, choosing instead to try to make the world a better, safer place for living, breathing human beings. That is amazing. Truly amazing things are rare in this world. Cherish them, care for them, protect them, strengthen them, strengthen this organization. Second, live passionately. These words aren't new for me. I wrote them more than a decade ago in a president's message. For trial lawyers, passion is not something to be turned on and off. It is a way of life. Sometimes it forces you to choose sides. Choose them. Third, laugh, especially at yourself. You'll beat other people to it, and you'll look classier. Follow your fear. Follow it all the way to its source. I've been surprised at what I've learned about myself when I do, and I've been even more surprised at how manageable that fear becomes if you understand where it's coming from and why. And finally, and this is the most important for each of us sitting here who lies awake at night thinking, Jesus Christ, if I could just get 2 good hours of sleep, I think I'd probably do a better voir dire. But you can't, because it's the toughest one of all. Embrace risk. It'll grow on you. It'll feel a lot like scar tissue. But scar tissue is a good thing, because if you've been able to grow it, it means whatever risk you took, however it turned out, it didn't kill you. One of the president's messages that I wrote that Mr. Koch was good enough to edit for me, he made it better, just like he promised he would, was one where I talked about one of the extraordinary trips I've been fortunate to row a boat on the Colorado River for, and we had a really bad day. And I wrote about risk in the context of the work that we do. And if you've ever had the great thrill of being in a whitewater rapid, you might have asked yourself, what the hell am I doing here right now? Just for a fleeting instant before it's over and you're celebrating and getting ready to have a wonderful evening around a campfire with your friends. And what I wrote was, it's pretty obvious that a raft tied to the shore is safe. But that's not what rafts are for. It's not what we're for. We're not here to be safe. Our clients are depending upon us to embrace that risk. And we have to face it. That's our job. My mother, who recently passed away, sat with my sister and I and gave us strict instructions with respect to her memorial service. She said, flat out, keep it short. That's good advice. That's what I've tried to do. I started talking about Joe Torre. I'll just simply note that Joe Torre is still deeply involved in the game of baseball, and I hope to remain deeply involved in this organization and this profession as long as I'm welcome. I am truly honored to receive the Career Achievement Award from Montana Trial Lawyers Association. I consider it absolutely the highest imaginable achievement. And I'll struggle with the fact that I don't feel like I belong on that list, but I'm deeply grateful for having been added to it. Thank you.